Well, hi guys, as you can see we've got this storm, is it Helena? Something like that. We've got the storm here anyway at the minute. It keeps coming and going. It's just backed off a little bit, so I thought I'd just grab a little bit of video, but boy is it windy. Windy and keeps raining. It's terrible. But that's what we've got at the minute. That's what we're stuck with, so there's not a lot going on out there. I did try to go out there and potter about, but wow, it is windy, making it really cold. It's about 11 degrees at the moment, so not too warm. So I'm not going to get a lot done. I've left my herring net on, as you can see, and I've put a ladder across this end just in case. But we're stuck at the moment, not too much happening. Well, good morning everybody. Thank goodness that wind's gone. It was horrendous. It's not too warm here today, but it's as still as anything. The trees aren't moving at all and it's lovely. I hate the wind. It just does so much damage and blows so much rubbish into my pond. The amount of blossom that was blown into the pond was untrue. I had to clean the skimmer every day. It was just full of it. Bits of branch and leaves and all sorts of things in there. But thank goodness it's all calmed down. The ponds took a bit of a hit with the water temperature. I think it's dropped down to about 12 degrees. It has come quite a bit cooler. But there you go, that's the English weather I suppose. But all's good, and I should like to get on with this new sieve filter. I should like to get that installed actually. But the wife has found me a little job, as you can see there. She keeps finding me jobs to do. So I've got them to put down in between all of this. She could have waited another month till I got this sieve filter installed, but there you go. They're all here and they've got to be put down. Now the sieve filter itself will be going down here. So obviously I've got to take that little bush out and get rid of the box. And the pipe that comes out of the ground now and goes into the filter house, I shall have to take that off. The filter pipe itself from the pond, the feed from the pond, is down here somewhere, so I've got to dig down that side and find that pipe underneath, because that's what I've got to tap into and bring the water into the sieve filter there, and then pump from the sieve filter into the filter house. So all that's got to be dug out, and like I say, the bush and the box gone. That's got to be done, but the biggest job is going to be inside the filter house, which, as you all know, is a bit of a nightmare. Now, with regard to my algae, now there's a question. I've never had this before, where at the start of the season I haven't had to treat the pond to kill the hair and string algae off. So I'm really not quite sure. This is all new to me. I've kept ponds for years. Even when we used to have the in-pond gravel filters, you used to have about a foot deep of gravel in your pond, and underneath that a network of pipes with small holes in. You used to draw the water through the gravel and put it back into the pond. That was your filter in them days. And we used to use a central heating pump. Not pond pumps, but central heating pumps, as they was much cheaper and much cheaper to run. Every year since then I've had algae. I've always had algae. I'm not saying I miss it, don't get me wrong, but this year I've had no algae at all. Now the only thing I've done different this year is I've got a mature Backy River running on my pond. It hadn't had time to mature for last year, but this year it seems to be working well. My water parameters are spot on, absolutely brilliant. I don't know whether I can show you around the pond, but you won't see any string algae anywhere at all. There's too many bubbles, I think, from the inlets, but I've got no string algae hanging off everything. The lily baskets I can usually see it hanging off. I don't know whether you can see them if I get right down, but there's nothing. They're as clean as a whistle. I don't know whether we can see them, but there's nothing on them either. So like I say, there's no algae in the pond at all. So I bought the clover leaf. Don't need it at the moment. Does anybody want to buy any clover leaf? I will keep it just in case. I mean, everything's running so much better without the algae. I know algae's good for your pond, because like it does help to burn the nitrates up, and it also adds a little bit of oxygen to the pond. But we'll just have to see how that one goes. I know they do say that some ponds can mature to a state of no algae, once they're really mature, but there's not many ponds do. But whether this pond has gone that way or not, I don't know. Like I say, it's new to me. No algae. If you see through all my previous videos, I've done videos of treating algae and what to use and what not to use, what works and what doesn't work. But whether I've reached that stage with this or not, I don't know. Okay, so what I've got here is a bit of a flow test. I've got the drum at the back, which is filled up to about the top one of them white rings, and it's coming through, and that is 30 watt. That amount of water is, I think it was 36 watt. So that's running 36 watt at the moment with that amount of water. So let's see how we go on putting a bit more through it. Okay, I've set you guys up on the tripod. That's still on 36 watts, so now I'm going to turn it up. We'll give it a little bit more and see how we go. Okay, so now I've turned it up to 70 watt. That's moving a lot of water from 70 watt, wow. And the control valve's working. Magic. That's brilliant. Well, I'm well pleased with that. That's a lot of water coming through there for 70 watt. That's about 100 watt less than I'm using at the minute. But having said that, it's obviously got no head pressure on it at the moment. But the regulator valve's keeping it spot on. That level hasn't changed. I've doubled what I was taking out and it's still at the same level. That is excellent. I don't know whether you can see it. It is actually, I'll see if I can move you around. I'll take it off the stand. Just take it off the stand so that you can see a little bit more. I don't know whether you can see that arm. It is fractionally just moving up and down a little bit. It is keeping control of it. So that's excellent. That's a lot of water coming through there for 70 watt. This pump's remarkable. And this in here is like the reservoir. As you can see, I'm just pumping it straight back into here. I just wanted to test that flow control, that's all. But wow. That's a good old amount of water for 70 watt. So now we could try a little bit more, I suppose. I'll put you back on the stand and we'll up it a little bit more. But that's one heck of a flow coming through there. But we can only see what happens. So I'll put you guys back on the stand. See what happens when I turn it up a bit more. Okay guys, we're now at just under 100 watt. Wow. Holy. Well, I'm well impressed with that. We've not gained any level. It's dropped slightly to open the valve up a little bit. Well, let's just get you guys in a little bit more. That's one heck of a flow. Oh, that's brilliant. And that is 100 watt. That's still 70 watt saving on what I'm using now. I do think the head pressure might affect it a bit more on a submersible, which I've always said, than it will do with the dry inline pump. But boy, that's pushing some water through there. And of course mine will all be 3" from the pond, and that is 2" from the tub out to this point, and then changes to 3" at the actual sieve filter. But all I've got to do now is get my mesh under there and see how that copes. But this will be the mesh when it's fitted into here. I hope you can see that. That's the mesh. That's how the mesh, you have to hold it with one hand, but that's the mesh when it's fitted. That's excellent, all going through the mesh. That's good. Water level spot on. Oh, great stuff. Hope you can see that. Hope my arm's not in the way. I hope you can hear me. But that's it with the mesh fitted and running. Great stuff. Okay, we'll go put the pump off. Experiment over. It works a treat. One slight modification. In the corner there, down there, where the float comes up, I have put a piece in the middle to hold it back, but it's not quite holding it back. So what I've got to do is extend them lugs, just bring them up another 2" and that'll sort that out and stop it moving. So that's the only problem I've got, and I'm well pleased with that. That's magnificent. Great stuff. What I actually do want to do is the lily down there. This is the shallow end of the pond. That's the one I bought off eBay, which was a bit expensive, 13 quid for a little tiny lily that is no bigger than your fingernail. I bought that on eBay. It was a prize winning lily about 10 years ago, I think. I can just faintly see branches coming off it, or leaves coming off it, but it's not really chucking anything up. So I might just lift that out, or lift it up to the top of the water and have a look and see what's going on, because I have got that plastic cage over the top of that which keeps the koi out. Whether they're pulling the leaves off it as they're appearing or not, I don't know. So I might just pull that to the side and just lift it and have a look to see what's going on. I should like to know what's going on down there with it, just to have a look. I had great expectations of that this year. The others are throwing leaves up, well, bits of leaves. Whatever the koi are leaving, they're throwing bits of leaves up. There's one in there, one in the middle there they haven't pulled to pieces. And the one where I took it all out of the basket and just replanted one of the kernels down there, it's got a leaf come up. Just there, if I can get in there, it's got a leaf come up, so it's chucking leaves up. So why this one hasn't, I'm not too sure. So like I say, I might just pop that up and have a look at it. Well guys, that's got it to the top of the pond, and as you can see, well, I hope you can see there, the koi's been eating it. They've pulled all the leaves off it. I've got broken stalks and everything there. They've been having a good old feed on it. There's no leaf left on this stalk here. There's one missing over there. There's a couple missing down there. So it's been trying to throw leaves up, but the koi's been eating it. So there's not a lot I can do about that, really. It's a shame, because that's supposed to be a beautiful lily. But there you go, that's koi for you. They do tend to eat them, I suppose because it's young and succulent. They've been giving it some stick. So there's not a lot I can do about that. At least it's answered the question. It is trying to grow, but unfortunately they've dismantled it. There you go. Well, as you can see, I've got the bush out. It is now down the garden there. As you can see, that's where it's gone to. So now it's a matter of getting all that dug out. I might have to move this slab or even cut it down. It's now a matter of getting the box into there. I'll definitely have to move this slab or get smaller in there, because I can't go any nearer than that pipe. That's the outflow from the filter. so I can't go any nearer than that, so I can see I've got to either cut that slab down or find a smaller one basically. But a bit of digging to do now. Well guys, why isn't digging a small hole in your back garden ever as easy as you think it's going to be? I wouldn't mind if I'd have hit the shed base, but that should finish over there. It looks like they've had too much cement, dug a hole and buried it. Oh dear, this is taking some getting out. So it looks like I've got the overshoot from the shed buried in the garden. So I'm having to hack that out, which is making this really hard going. Oh dear. Still, I'll press on. Well, this is the pump that I'll be using. It's the Aqua Forte. I think it's pronounced the DM series, and it's 10,000 to 20,000 litres. That should be okay, I think, and should save me some money. But that's the one. They're not cheap because they're adjustable, I suppose. But that's the pump that's going to be on my pond, and hoping it's going to save me a bit of money. Keeping our fingers crossed. It's fitted, I've already got it fitted, it's in the actual filter now, so it's all fitted in and ready to go in. So it'll just be a matter of seeing how that runs the pond, which will be quite interesting, I think. What I really do need is a bit of a clear up in here so that I can actually move. After doing this sieve filter, I've got stuff absolutely everywhere, but it sits here ready to go, so I can't wait to get it on the pond. Actually, we've done a flow test with it and all went really well. I was quite pleased with it. So a bit of a clear up and see if we can get things started, get things moving. I want to get on with it if I can. I know the weather's nice and still, there's no wind outside, but it does look like rain, so I'm just wondering how long I've got out here. The weather is the problem at the moment, slowing everything down, but it's England, so we expect it. And as you can see, everything's fitted. It's all ready to be dropped in. You can see down there, there's all the float and everything down there that controls the flow. I've got a gate valve on that end, and I've put the drop board in there so that the water hits the mesh a little bit sooner, and the mesh frame. It's all in, the pump's in there, it's down there and connected. It'll go out the side. Don't know whether you can see the pump, it's a little bit dark down there. But yeah, all ready to go. So it's just a matter of getting the hole dug and getting it sunk in the ground. I've got a top, I want to put a top on it, because this will be level with the pond water level. I want to raise the sides by about 2.5 inches all the way round, and then make a lid for it. So I've still got that to do, but the filter itself's all ready to go in. So it's just a matter of seeing how things go. I've got to get out there and dig the hole, but it keeps raining and it's so windy out there, it's unbelievable. So we're stuck with that at the moment, holding things up, but it's all done and ready. So keeping our fingers crossed on that one. So in here we've got to do a bit of redesigning, because as you'll know, the water comes round here and to the pond pump down there, the SS20, back up and then through 2.5 inch pipes round to the actual RDF. So I've got to change all that. I've got to take that out. I want to try to make it more direct if possible. It's going to be a bit of a nightmare, but all this has got to be replumbed. So I have got to keep that Y valve there. I've got to keep that, so we've got to connect into that from the sieve filter and then out to the two, can you see them, out to the two outlets. There's one there, out to them two outlets and round to the RDF. So that's got to be redone. Like I say, I want to make it more direct, so I want to come from into the shed somewhere about here, up into the Y filter and then round. So I cut all this lot out, make it a little bit more direct. Like I say, the problem is I've got to get the Evo 30 in there somehow, and to get that in, it would mean I'd have to come in the shed, go across in the corner, up and then out to this, which I really don't want. The Evo won't go on the back wall because of the filters, so I've got that one to work out yet. A bit of a quandary, I'm afraid, but that's what we've got to do to get this sieve filter in. So I've got to get my mind in gear and get that sorted. Well guys, as you can see, I've been rather busy. I've got the hole dug to the depth and I've found the pipe. The pipe down there, hope you can see it, the 3-inch pipe we've got to cut into. One's the electric cable to the other shed down the bottom, and the white one's the airline obviously. But we've got the hole out now, so now we can start weighing up, getting it in, what height it wants to be and that sort of thing. What a back-breaking job it was digging that hole out. You can see it down there. We'd got a layer of concrete. I think it was the excess from the shed base. They just put it in the ground and buried it. And of course I hit it trying to dig this out. Wow, did that take some getting out. You think just a simple little job like digging a hole in your back garden, and it's a nightmare. But there you go, we've got it out anyway. So we'll see about getting the filter in and where it's got to be. As you can see down there, in between all this, we're getting the paths laid and all that sort of thing. There's a big area out the front there where we park the cars that's been slabbed, but I'm trying to do that at the same time. So it's all go here at the minute. There's just a couple more slabs to cut and put in there, but my nephew come down and he's been helping me, bless him. He's been brilliant. But we're getting it done slowly. As you can see, the big heap of them's gone. They're all gone, so I've got all that done. They're down. I think today is just a little finishing off jobs. There's a couple more slabs to go in this end and 4 more down the other side outside. So that's that done then. Thank goodness I can get on with my filter. And the wife's smiling. Well guys, that's about it for another video. I'll keep you guys up to date on what's going on with the new Sieve filter, and we'll get a bit of video of installing it and doing the pipe work in the shed. But for now, from a sunny South Lincolnshire, all that's left for me to say is do take care. Thanks for watching and happy ponding.